This is Miguel Ochoa from Santa Ana, California, and you're listening to Ambiance podcast.
All right, so we're gonna go live in 3, 2, 1. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Ambiance podcast, episode 20. To the right of me, I have Miguel Ochoa, a tattoo artist out of Southern California. One of the hottest tattoo artists out in the game right now. Shout out to my boy Jonathan for linking us up. Much love to that. He does a lot of work on my boy Jonathan. What's up, man? What brings you out to New York?
So I've been coming out here for quite some time. So I just have some people lined up. We just touched down. Jonathan, give me a heads up for the podcast. But yeah, just trying to take care of some returning clientele. We come out here once, twice a year. It's a must. It's one of my favorite. I mean, I've traveled quite a bit, but New York City is a must. It's a city that I love. It's a whole different animal over here.
Yeah, you were saying off camera too. We were talking about how it's like outside of LA or Southern California, it's like the biggest hub for you, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's so I think one of the things that I was told, I'm not sure if it's necessarily true, but the first city that you hit by yourself, like I think that becomes your city. And I was used to traveling with a crew of like other fellow artists.
Okay.
At a time at the previous spot where I was at, and New York was the first place that I actually went on my own. I headed out to do my own campaign, and I think that's kind of how it became my place.
Your place?
Yeah, man. So, yeah.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
So is that like a tight knit community? You and other tattoo artists, like, 'cause I always wonder that. I feel like in a lot of other creative industries, it gets kind of competitive at times, or like it's kind of like a dog eat dog world. But in the tattoo industry, is it more of like you guys are kind of supporting each other?
No. Yeah, I mean, there's the tattoo community is there's a lane for everybody. You know what I mean? And that's like I was used to the being at the shop, that whole ordeal. The traveling with the conventions and the the guest spots and the stuff like that, but I knew that like eventually, like, I'm thankful for that, but I kind of wanted to branch off and do my own thing, like a sublet like lane. But I don't know, I'm being from Southern California and being a tattoo artist, like just West Coast fine line black and gray, that's where it's from. That's like the mecca for it. So it is very, very fierce. It's very competitive. So you got to have an advantage. You know what I mean? You got to have a serious competitive advantage if you're going to be out there.
Yeah.
And you want to be I always was groomed to be kind of like on the forefront of the game. So I kind of have that. I try to have that advantage to me, because that's how I was groomed in the game.
Right.
So,
yeah. I talked about this earlier in like some of my other podcasts, how like in any creative industry, and like definitely for a tattoo artist, if you can make it in LA, like you can basically make it anywhere, because LA is so competitive with any kind of industry. Like I feel like a lot of the best tattoo artists come like reside in LA. Is that correct? Or
I think that's correct, but to a certain extent, because I feel like the one that what I was told is like, if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere in the world. Yeah, that's actually like, yeah. So if you can make it here, I believe you can make it anywhere in the world. And yeah, it's like a constant moving in your face kind of city.
Yeah.
So if LA is very, very mellowed out, very it's at your pace. It's it's not so head on as I feel like New York is and stuff. And it's like you gotta have that to you, because I remember growing up and just having like anywhere from childhood friends that I would kind of not that I was insatiable, but I would always try to be challenging the status quo, trying to do every year, trying to break down my formula, trying to rebuild it,
right,
and just keep it refreshing for myself, for my taste, what kind of person I wanted to be. And that's the thing. I felt like LA was like, a lot of my friends were like, man, you're like some insatiable person. Like, it's like you got this void that you can't fill. It's like, it's not like that, man. It's like I just try to keep it refreshing and up to date, and not let it go stale.
Right.
And once I landed in New York and I started kind of like doing my thing out here, I was like, yo, they get it. They understand the culture. They clearly understand that's what it is out here.
New York does?
Yeah, no matter what medium you're in, whether it's like if you're in fine dining, whether liberal creative arts, anything, whatever medium you're in, it's like you have to be very on that tip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you got to be really in tune with like what's going on, right?
Yeah, man.
The city's crazy, man. It's so hustle and bustle, like.
Yeah, man. I love it for that, though.
Me too.
It brings something out of you.
It really does. It's inspiring. Like, it makes you kind of have a sense of urgency, I feel like, to doing whatever you're doing. Like you mentioned earlier, LA so laid back. Like, it might be easy to kind of just, I don't know, get not content with what you're doing, but not really. I feel like your creative space inspires you a lot, right? So where you're at really is important. What you're doing? Yeah, definitely.
And that's one thing that I love about growing up and SoCal. That's I basically wanted to be like a poster child of like the culture that I grew up with. I had the first generation Mexican American, so I had that tip from my parents. And going outside, you got the lowrider culture, you got the graffiti culture, you have anything, dude, really, like the food culture. And I kind of wanted to be like, take all that, do my own spin on it, and kind of like, refurbish it and just give it back as like my personal tattoo brand, like, right. I guess, my take on it.
Yeah. So, and talk about that a little bit, like growing up in LA and how that kind of inspired your style, because I was checking out like your page obviously and saw like a lot of your work, and I feel like a lot of it has that West Coast feel to it, like you said, that graffiti, that lowrider feel to it, which is really dope. So like let's start from the beginning. How was like growing up for you in LA?
Growing up in Southern California, well, there's two different things. I mean, growing up in my household, I had like, I was talking to my mom. I had this conversation with her. She was like, how the hell did you take up tattooing? And I was like, Mom, like, it's just like, it's your lens on everything. It's like, what do you process when you look at stuff? I'm like, growing up as a kid, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, and the whole household had like strong Roman Catholic imagery, from like saints to Mary bringing down Jesus from the cross, crown of thorns, blood trickling down his face. It's very strong imagery for a 7, 8, 9-year-old to take in, and it struck a chord with me. And I think she's just used to having that around. But as a kid growing up, and you're like a sponge, you're just taking all that in. And then I told her, I'm like, all this tattoo elements are all around us. It's like, but it's like, are you receptive to them? Like, I explained that in the household, and I go, now let's step outside. And now I got the graffiti in the alley. I got the dumpster cans really like streaked, markers.
So it was all around.
It's all around. You know, you got people breeding dogs. They're putting chains and bandanas on them. Everybody's trying to dress up their whip according to their taste. Some people want to put stickers, some people want to put murals, some people want to dress it up with wheels. You know what I mean? It's like it's different strokes for different folks. And I started telling my mom, and she was just like, "Oh, that's like really eye opening." And I was like, "Yeah, that's what I'm trying to tailor, make that part of my tapestry. That's part of my brand. It's like it's all that, but I just want to put my glaze over it, if that makes sense."
Yeah.
And then just and it's been a hit, man. It's like, because I think when you look in the mirror and you don't lie to yourself, and you're like, this is where I grew up, this is what's been around me, this is what's inside my household, this is so I'm not trying to stage anything. I'd rather
it's all real.
It's all real. It's like, this is very, very close to me.
Yeah. So how long have you been tattooing for?
This previous October, I just hit a decade.
10 years?
10 years in the game. I'm a vet, bro.
Your tenure. Basically, that's crazy.
I'm
Congratulations, man.
Thank you, man. 10 years, and I still feel like a rookie.
You still feel like a rookie? Explain that. What do you mean?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like it's the never-ending game. You know, it's like I just now eager to see what the next 10 years holds, and it's like I'm a rookie to that.
That's so
So it's
important,
like,
man.
yeah, man, I treat it like it's like a never-ending thing, and I enjoy it.
Yeah, to stay successful in anything, like you gotta continue to have that mindset you have. Like, it could be easy for somebody to like in your shoes to feel like you're content with like your art the way it is, but that's super dope to hear that like you're still hungry. You
No,
know, you
definitely,
still
yeah.
got that hunger and that drive in you
Yeah,
to get better.
definitely.
You know.
I had this conversation with Josh, my apprentice, and he was like, we recently were talking, and he was like, "Yo, man, I think your work right now is like the best that I've ever seen it.
Wow.
It's like in all my years of following you and being part of your support system, I think right now is like the best where it's ever been." And I looked at him and I was like, "What did you say?" And he said, "I think it's the best I've ever seen it at." And I was like, "I enrolled in school, bro. Now I go to art school."
Wow.
Because, yeah, bro, when you hear that, you're like, nah, man, there's always room for improvement. Now
Yeah.
I enrolled in art school.
Yeah, I think somebody said that like I heard this like on an interview somewhere that what's the actor Denzel Washington, he still takes acting lessons. You know, if one of the best actors in the fucking world takes acting lessons, like who can show Denzel
Bruh.
Washington how to act? Then why can't
Yeah,
you know
that's-
the
we'll
best
just-
at whatever to take fucking lessons, right?
Yo, that shit is hard.
Yeah. Hella hard, bro. That's crazy. What age were you when you started doing tattoos? Like what?
I had to be 23, 24 years old. So I was a little bit later, but it was just kind of like, yeah, I was like 23, 24.
23
yeah.
or 24?
Yeah, it had to be around that time.
Okay.
Yeah, I just didn't know what I was doing with myself. And I've always been into art and then, you know, like graphite pencil drawings.
Okay.
So when tattooing fell in my lap, I was like, yo, this is it. This is what I'm gonna, this is my calling. And I just, you know, I lost myself in it. I completely shut everything out. And I said, this is really what I want to do. And I just really started kind of like really emphasizing on like, okay, who are like the best out there? You know, like what are the best shops? What you know, going online, going on Google, looking at magazines, going on blogs. It's like, who are the premier guys out there, and let me see the quality of work that's out there, because I want to rub shoulders with those guys. You know?
So you did your research. You didn't just dive in blindly into this shit.
I did for about 4 months, and then I
Oh, you
started.
did?
Yeah, I started realizing in those 4 months, I said, you know what, if I'm gonna do anything with this, it's like I gotta really respect it, and I took it as a student. So
Right.
I took up an apprenticeship, which lasted about 8 months.
Okay.
At a premier shop where I came from, and you know, shout outs to those guys, man. Those guys are, if I wouldn't be nowhere near where I'm at, if it wasn't for that kind of education.
Right. So you just started sketching out ideas and then just started tattooing them?
I mean, I
Okay.
was, I was
How'd it
doing,
work?
bro. I was just trying to have somebody in my chair. I was like, bro, you trying to get some?
Who was the first person to let you tattoo them? Like, I want to know that. Like,
Okay, so my first.
that's crazy.
My first tattoo was shout outs to them too, Manuel and Martha. And shouts out, man. They're still super supportive. They wanted matching tattoos, and I did 3 dots on them.
That was,
And it was just because I just put my equipment together. I wasn't even sure. I was like, okay, I think you do it like this.
Oh shit.
I put it together. I got an ink cap. I just dipped, and I just poked away. You know, it was nothing major, but it was just for me to get like my feet wet. You know,
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Testing the waters, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, to start off, and then you obviously started progressively getting better, right?
Yeah, definitely. I started getting more into other pieces. I mean, they were always fairly clean, but maybe not necessarily the best reference, because I was picking stuff up that I was just like, oh, this is kind of what they want, and then
Yeah.
just kind of going through those motions. But I was like, nah, man, I need to get the real references,
Right.
do some real research, do some real homework if I want to deliver some real ass work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course. What were you doing before you were tattooing? Like,
Man, I had odd jobs, bro. So
Really?
yeah,
Just random
man,
shit?
just random, man. I was a telemarketer at
Oh,
one
really?
point. Yeah, man.
It's a hard life. I did that one time. Bro, that's the
Telemarketing.
real fucking. That's some hard shit.
I did asphalt paving with my pops. I did yo, I did like car maintenance, like Jiffy Lube, kind of like basic car maintenance on cars.
That is really random.
really random, and that's where I got my first tattoo kit.
Really?
Randomly.
How?
So I'd always, on my downtime, I'd always be doodling, just drawing and, trying to, I'm like, I got some downtime. I'm just going to draw something out, sketch something out. And we had, and shout out to her, Pamela Enriquez. So she was the cashier at the spot. She used to, cash people out, ring them up. And I'd always be drawing. And one time she flags me down. She's like, yeah, you know what? You have really nice handwriting. And to this day, bro, because I wasn't even thinking about it. I was just thinking out loud, and it just popped. And she was like, Isis said, thanks, but what I really want to do is take up tattooing. And I remember I was like, wait, hold on. Like, that never even crossed my mind.
Yeah.
I never thought about that ever. And I just said it, and I was like, oh, what the? I was like, even like, well, yo, why did I say that? And she was like, you know what? She's like, my at the time, my husband just got incarcerated. And he's in the penitentiary, and I'm getting rid of all his stuff. But you know what? He has a brand new tattoo kit at the house. Why don't you come by and pick it up?
Wow.
I went that same day, dude, and that was it. That's
Yo,
all. That was it. I was like, this is what I want to do.
Do you ever think about, like, if you didn't get that opportunity, like, would any of this have happened?
Yeah, but that's just, that's the universe, basically.
Alignment of the stars.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, all it did was just like push me more into my natural drift of things. And
yeah, shit happens for a reason, man.
I truly believe that, because had that conversation never came up, had she taken the day off that day, I'd be still at,
There's a lot of scenarios like that.
Yo, that's what I'm saying. I'm just like super thankful. So I'm always like, again, try to be the poster child for, like, anybody trying to, being on the podcast. If anybody out there hearing this, it's like, you can do whatever it is you want to do, man. You just gotta apply yourself, stay focused, and think long term, man.
Think long term.
Long term, man. That's it.
Is that a big key?
That's it, man. I think that's the major key, dude. It's like
The major.
Yeah, you gotta think 5-10 years from now. That's how you gotta be thinking.
If there was one thing back in your early, like when you first started, that you wish you would have known, what would it be? Like, let's say you could talk to yourself 10 years ago.
Damn, that's a good question, bro. Let me see. It'd be like, man, I wouldn't change anything, man. It's
That's
like,
that's a good answer.
I wouldn't change anything. I thought about it, and clearly it was like everything. I came to learn, man. I read this up too, and it was just like, don't ask for things to come as you want. Let them come as they may. So that's the tip that I'm on. It's like, sometimes when you're pushing for stuff, I feel like it doesn't happen, and when you're just like working head down, I feel like that's what happened to me. It's like I got congratulated in public for shit I used to practice them privately,
Yeah.
So, like, I'd be out, when people would be like, hey, your shit's dope. Well, it's because of all that time I did when I had my head down just grinding it out. So I wouldn't change anything, man. Everything.
It worked out the way it was supposed to.
Exactly. And it still does. And that's the tip.
Yeah. I feel like so many people nowadays are looking for, like, the shortcut to success, like, in whatever they're doing. So
definitely, man.
Yeah. So you got to, like, really put that work in to get, I feel like, to that level that you want to get to, like, and earn it, not just, like, I don't know, come up on it on some, like, luck shit. Like, you actually have to, like, go through this shit that you may have went through earlier in your career. Yeah,
definitely, man. Yeah, there's nothing like it, man. That instant gratification, that's the enemy, man. It's like, that does happen, but rarely.
Yeah.
And when it does, it happens by luck. But the success stories that I hear and the ones that are like long lasting, and those are the people that I try to rub shoulders with.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been like, man, it's a constant thing. It's like a, get ready to get, take it to the face, man, over and over before something gets off the ground. And I'm like, and the more you understand that, the better. This ain't no turn and burn stuff, man. Especially if you want to be around. And that's the kind of
for
stuff,
longevity, right?
Yeah, longevity. That's the kind of artist I want to be. Like, I want to be 10 years from now. My name is still going to be as relevant as it was at this moment.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah.
At what point did you know that you could make like a serious living doing this when you were starting out?
At one point, well, when I was doing my research, man, I was like, I was looking at how, like, these artists that I was admiring at the time, and I was like, at the time there was some hitters out there, man, and I was like, you know what, man, I want to be like that, like,
yeah,
and yeah, I was like, I'm gonna work so hard. I'm gonna work so hard where it's like you can't ignore me. Where I'm gonna be like, when you bring up these guys' names, I want my name to be in the same tier as these guys, And I just knew I had to put my head down and just work for a very fucking long time. And I was like, that's the goal. So yeah, man. Fuck, where was I going with this? I'm a little buzzed.
You're good. It's late. We're in New York. It's like, for the listeners out there, he's jet lagged. It's like 10 p.m. at nighttime right now. It's all good, bro. We still drinking a little bit.
Cheers to that.
cheers, man. But yeah, like, how many? I want to talk a little bit more about the details of like your industry, or like you specifically in your industry. So how many days out of the year, like, roughly, do you think you have appointments in your tattooing?
Damn, out of the year, that should vary, because on campaigns like this here in New York, I got at least 15, 16 sessions out of a 20-day span. That's a lot.
Yeah.
But it's because I have that kind of support system out here. But during the week, I'm right now, you're catching me in a time in my career where I'm kind of I rotate from 3 to 4 days. So I work Monday through Wednesday, following week Monday to Thursday, and then following week Monday through Wednesday again, and then I go to school on Fridays.
Oh, you go to school?
I go to school every Friday.
That's dope.
So
That's
yeah,
crazy.
I'm always busy, and even when it's like a Monday through Wednesday, on Thursday I have like PR meetings or campaigns again, like New York or international or nationwide. So I'm always having a sit down, and it's something. It's not tattooing, but it's tattoo related. Something that has to do with the brand and furthering it. So from everything from a PR meeting to thinking of a campaign, getting together with my manager, designing.
Right.
I'm into design now, so trying to design merchandise.
Okay.
So it's always something.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if it's like this for the tattoo industry, where it's like that tattooing is like not the easy part, but like all the other shit that comes with it, you gotta like set yourself up with. Because like, for example, for me with the podcast, like, this is the fun and easy part for me. It's the editing, it's the video editing, it's the mastering, the mixing, the long ass hours doing it. That's like the difficult part, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
definitely.
The stuff outside the art is the things that like take up the most time. Is it like that for you or no?
I think tattooing is the fun part, but like getting equipped with references, having it seamlessly tie into other existing pieces, creating a sleeve, that's the hard shit. That's like you're trying to compose something that's like someone's gonna wear. You want them to be hella proud to wear it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And they got that shit on them for
And
the rest of their life.
life. You know what I mean? It's like to the day that person's in their casket.
No,
like,
bro, there's no other fucking like career or industry where that is the case. They have this shit on them forever. You have a lasting impact on these people.
Yeah, man.
Forever.
I don't take it lightly. That's why it's like I always try to deliver my standard for myself. It's like it's really high. Anything below that is like unacceptable for me, and I treat it like that, and that's why I feel like granted I get the results that I get because I'm not pussyfooting around. You know?
Right.
It's like I'm really trying to deliver something that it's like 10 years from now when that person looks down at their sleeve, they're still going to be stoked to look at it, or just when someone that's like making non-believers into believers, man, you show someone this piece and they'll be like, yo, I didn't know that shit you could deliver that on skin. It's like, where'd you get that? Like, and then they're like, man, I'm not even a fan of tattoos, but that right there, that's art.
They can appreciate it, right?
Yo, that's different. It's like you're getting a non-believer turning into a believer now. It's like,
okay, that makes sense. What about like the fact? I think the fact that you're in like one of the highest paid like industries as well too, because of what you're doing is permanent, so it should be one of the highest paid things, I think. But the fact that like you have like such a lasting impact on people is just like mind blowing to me. I don't know, it's insane. Like,
what you know what the way I was trying to train my guys, it's that that earned trust and respect that I get from the people that I physically deal with is worth more to me than money, and for that reason I make money.
Right.
So it's like that's the golden ticket. You want to deliver to the world what you would buy if the circumstances were reversed.
Okay.
And that's the golden rule. That's it. So, I try to deliver the most best experience. Try not to stage anything. Try to just be, unapologetically the best version of myself at all times.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people pick up on that as part of the brand. They're like, you know what? Automatically at the end of their session, like, I experienced something really cool. It's a given you want to walk out with some cool artwork, but everything around it, the experience, the anything from delivering a care package, all inclusive stuff, the conversations, what I mean? It's
the relationships you build with them too.
Yeah, it's like, I think people are willing to pay a premium for it.
Yeah. They're
willing, yeah.
And these appointments that you have, they're like probably like 10, 12-hour days, right? Like,
yeah. Depends on the density of the piece. It could be hella longer.
Really? What's the longest day you put in, like, straight?
Bruh, I'll never do that again. But I mean, when we used to travel, we used to go to like Europe and stuff, and UK. Bruh, like 12 to 15 hours. So deliver a tattoo, 12 hours. Stenciling took like 2 hours. Then you had to do a photo shoot, which was like 30 to 45 minutes. Then we used to have to jump off that, then edit the photos, write a blog about it, upload the photos, publish them on social media. It was just like 18-hour work days, bro. Like the tattooing was just like maybe the 15 hours, but the 3 hours just to stencil it, it was, but it was a sacrifice, man. It was like I had to do that for
part of it, right?
Quite some time, where it was like burning the candle at both ends. But I'd rather do it when I was hella young, because I knew eventually I'm gonna find a balance. But it, like, for right now, I have to be in the trenches,
right,
and doing this,
Yeah. Do you have like a team now that kind of helps you do all that other shit?
Yeah, definitely. I got to shout out to Cindy, my manager. She's been with me from the gate, always super helpful, understands the way I think, because I'm kind of loony sometimes. I'm kind of loony sometimes, as a creative type. I think it's part of the madness. It's part of the formula. You're kind of like, you could be a strange person at times, but it's part of the formula. And so Cindy, I got Josh, I got Kenny, I got Sal, my brother Robert. There's,
So you got a pretty solid team then.
Yeah, I got a few guys, and it's like, I learn from them as they're learning from me, because sometimes they ask me for advice, but I also pick their brain, because, I don't, just because I'm this far in the game doesn't mean that I can't learn from them.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's yeah, and I learn from everybody, man. I'm always a sponge. I'm a student to life.
I mean, you're going to school, so fuck you.
Yeah, I'm a student
you're literally
to life.
A student. Damn, I can't imagine the shit you've experienced and like the places that you've been. Where are some of the places that tattooing has like taken you to as far as traveling?
Bro, crazy, bro. All over Europe, the UK. I've been to the Caribbean. I've been to Mexico, man. Yeah, yeah. Nationwide, I've done a nationwide campaign, and for the year to come, gonna head up to Canada. I don't know why I never thought about going up to Canada. Huge support system out there, you know. So
Right.
yeah, man.
Which one was your favorite? Of all those places?
And they all hold a very special place in my heart, depending because every country delivers something different.
True.
Like work wise and friends wise, I would say London kind of reminds me of New York with a British take on it. I love France and Italy for the food and the architecture. And and then I mean, Japan, if you want like a culture shock.
Yo, I'm trying to go out there.
Culture shock, Japan.
Hey, what way? They're like,
bruh. It's crazy. It's like I went to a serious ass construction site and I saw Hello Kitties like with their arms up in the air like this.
what?
And I just seen rows and rows of them with like with the building. And I was like, I told my taxi, I was like, what's going on right here? And he was like, oh, these are construction cones. And I was like, hold on a second.
The Hello Kitties are construction cones?
Bro, like, you know our orange cones
Yeah.
for construction sites? They had Hello Kitties with their arms up. Rows and rows of them. And I was like, I'm like, is this serious? He's like, this is serious, bro.
But
I was like, oh, damn.
Do you know the secret behind Hello Kitty? Like that, like if you notice, they don't have mouths or some shit. Like I don't know if it was mouths or like eyes. They don't have some fucking essential shit on their face. I think it's the mouth. And like the whole story behind it is that like the person who created it was this mom, and she was like struggling to like take care of her child because she was broke, had no money, and she's like supposedly sold her soul to the devil so her brand can be successful. And that's like the secret of the Hello Kitty. That's why the Hello Kitty doesn't have a mouth.
What?
Yeah.
The fuck?
You could like Google it or some shit. Fact check me for listening to this shit, because I don't know if that's all true.
Damn,
but
that is fucking-
I heard that.
That shit was... You threw a monkey wrench in my game.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
No,
but,
that's crazy, bro.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, just culture shock like that. Yeah, just like if I went to the store and I went to the pharmacy and I'm like, you need some cough medicine. It has like a big cartoon face on it with like the coughing with a really wide mouth and like 2 little drops coming out the nostril. And I was like, what is this? And they're like, that's like adult cough medicine. And I was like, it looks like it could be for a child, you know, but it's like, no, it's like a serious ass Robitussin.
It was serious ass
like,
Robitussin.
yo, man, that manga culture is big out here.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of the big benefits, huh? Then of you just like it's just you get to travel all these fucking places.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, traveling is a must. I mean, that's one thing that I really wanted to do when I started kind of like trying to go for tattooing. And when I would be broke, man, in the garage, down and out, I would lay down, be sprawled out, and I would just, put my hands behind my head and I'd just daydream. And I'd be like, man, one day I don't want to work for anybody, man. And one day I want to travel the world. And not only that, I want to travel places where I want to fucking go.
Yeah.
And you know what? I only want to eat the best ingredients that are out there. Like ones that I don't even know about or like not even familiar with. But like I wanted to have even just a flavor profile. Even if I don't fucking like it. At least I can say I've tried it. And that's the kind of shit that would keep me going through fucking tough times. I'll be like, one day just fucking grind it out. Just get in the trenches and you'll have this. Now I fucking pinch myself. It's like
Pinch yourself.
I'm in New York, and we're about to have some fucking decadent meals on this trip.
Let's go.
Let's go.
We're trying to hit some spots tomorrow.
Bro, you guys got something real cool right here. I had to throw this out there. Crown Shy.
What's
it's
that?
on Pine. I think it's 70 Pine. It's like I think 1 or 2 streets over, bro. It's like.
What kind of food is it?
It's like. Damn. It's like a take on French food, but it's a spin-off. I don't even know how to explain it to you, but it's a vibe. They play hip hop.
What?
And it's like fine dining establishment, but they play hip hop. So it's like it's a vibe.
That's different.
Which is you don't see, you know what I mean? Like white linen, like serious chefs, but I mean they got like, you know what I'm saying? Like they got like Gangstar on the fucking
Oh shit! So it's
on the
some like
speaker, and you're like, oh shit, Biggie, like, oh, and I
while
like
you
that.
fine dining too, like
Yeah, while you're eating some, but we can just go and have a cocktail at the bar, maybe get some finger foods and stuff, just for tonight. They close
Right.
at 2, bro.
shit. Might head there tomorrow. But yeah, New York. There's so many places to try. I feel like you gotta go come back multiple times to try all this shit.
It's just so much, bro.
overwhelming.
It's so much. It's so good too. It's like really, really fucking good.
Yeah.
The bar is hella high for food here.
Really?
Yeah, man, it's crazy.
So that's important for you then, right? Like when you're traveling to like eat eat there, like the type of culture food that they have at that place.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. Even remote ass places where I go, I try to find out the like farmers markets. So I go and I'm like, yo, what seasonal fruit do you guys got that I would probably never ever find back home? Can you fucking line all those up and let me have in the they're fucking cracking it open, pulling stuff out. They're like, you try this. I'd never have some of that back home. You know what I mean? And I'm tasting it from the hands of grandmothers, people that they really care about that. That's their reality, and I'm like getting it from the hands of farmers and and I'm like, yo, can I get a breakfast? And they're like, yeah, they make something from scratch. And that's important for me, man. Traveling and experiencing stuff like that. That's something that's like, whether you understand it or not, you come back different. You're like, yo, man, that was
straight up, yeah. Those experiences change who you are.
Yeah,
honestly.
Man, yeah, you come back hella different. I think, yeah.
I lived in Jamaica for like a month, and
Yo.
that shit changed me, bro. Like just seeing how like you think you're poor, like poor out here is like not poor,
nothing.
like poor,
Nothing.
and you once you go to third world countries, it's like
Nothing,
different,
bro.
like
Different,
poor,
Yeah.
and you see that it just
yeah.
fucking changes your out, like makes you more grateful for everything.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, it puts things into like I fucking going eating like this at farmers market in Mexico, and I eat like a big bowl of like fresh ass food, soup, a taco, a drink,
Good ass tacos.
$3, bro.
Yeah, right.
Bro, and it's like man, you know what I'm saying? Like
Out here, that's like $15
bro,
at
that's like
least.
that's like $15-$16
At the least.
$3 over, and they're like, and they're just so stoked that you're in their seat, you know,
Mhm.
that you're in, that you took time out of your day to come and just sit down in their chair. You can't stage that, man. That's real, and you come home and I bring that. It's like, yo, that's
It keeps you grounded, right?
yeah, man, definitely.
Cool. Yeah, let's digress a little bit. We're almost done here, but you talked a little bit earlier about how you've reached your 10-year mark right now, with your tattooing career, and you, yeah, shouts out to you for that. But talk about like the next 10 years. You said you're kind of preparing for those like next steps in your career. What is like a goal for you to get to, within the next like 5 years of your career?
I love one thing I want to integrate is like philanthropy. So like yeah, that would be like one of the biggest things. So long-term stuff is like I want to claim a part of like inner city libraries, like all the books that like are fascinating to me and they're like help mold me. I want to pinch a little bit of the library to give it back to kids that are kind of like don't have a place to go. It's like I want to make that a place where it's like, yo, you want to go there. It's like they have like liberal creative types that go there, and they speak, they have seminars, they you can pick their brain. They got a library of books that you can check out that's like personally selected, hand selected by them. So keep them off the streets and help them give better understanding of like how I, not necessarily myself, but just how guys like ourselves can have maneuvered through life,
Right.
through this little business we call life. That's a huge one, which I will never stop till that happens. But
So
also too, merch. I'm trying to do merch. Like I understand that some people, I got my support group, but sometimes I have my support group. I mean, I'm talking about places like Sao Paulo, Brazil, Mexico City. Some of these cats don't have the luxury to come out to the States, get a flight, get an Airbnb, get a hotel, take Ubers, and then fork out money to get a session with me. Well, I want to scale down everything to creating merch, something more tangible like coffee table books, bookmarks, t-shirts, sticker packs, crew necks. That's like, 25, $30, something a little bit more tangible. And it's like a scaled down experience of supporting my personal brand. Just as much as I'm thinking of whoever's in my chair, I'm thinking about the fellas out there that, or girls that are want to feel part of the brand,
Right.
and don't have the luxury to come and get tattooed. It's like, I'm just as much as I'm thinking about my recipient for the day, I'm thinking about you guys too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Dope. Last question, like where can people find you on social, find your work at?
Yeah, social. IG is the one that's really, I guess, that's the most current one, and it's just my name, Miguel Ochoa, at Miguel Ochoa. Everything's current. I publish something every other day, no more than 4 days without publishing content. I got the website, MiguelOchoaTattoo.com. You can fill out an inquiry form, and I'm gonna update that with the online store, and also email info at MiguelOchoaTattoo.com, and that's, you can contact Cindy directly for dates and times, and deposits and all that.
Dope. Yeah, I'll have to cop some merch when that shit comes out. For sure.
Yeah, definitely, man. Yeah. I got it's coming. I dropped my first one. And
did you design it yourself?
Yeah, man.
Cool.
I put it together. I got with some designers back home, and they helped me put a care package together. And it's just like, I'm just, picking up steam, man. I'm just building momentum. It's like, let's see how we can take this, and there's so many avenues to it. It's exciting. So again, in the next 10 years, it's going to be really dope to see.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
One last thing, what advice would you give to like young aspiring tattoo artists, or just like any young creative out there trying to make it big in whatever they're trying to do?
If you're trying to make it big, just be a big vision guy. Stick to your vision. No matter the case, stick to your vision. My best piece of advice is just like get a shop that really you're naturally drawn to, or an artist, and just reach out and just ask for an apprenticeship.
Okay.
And try to learn off them, like instead of like trying to figure things out your own. I figured out very early in my career that like everything that I was confused with, I had to look outside of myself to get these answers.
Yes.
You don't have them all. The internet don't have them all. There's stuff that someone has to. The apprenticeship is a great thing, is someone can walk you through the steps, through all the mistakes they made, so you don't make them. You're trimming the fat off your steak, and you can get to wherever it is you need to get. Maybe even within a 3-year period.
Oh yeah. So using your resources, right?
Yeah, definitely, man. That's the best advice.
Chances are there's somebody in your network that is like not necessarily professional, but already knows how to do something that you're lacking in. So I think that's super important. I'm glad that you brought that up. Like,
yeah,
it's all important. Yeah. All right, Miguel, I appreciate this, man. Dope ass podcast. I appreciate you coming through. We're gonna go ahead and turn it over now. That's a wrap.
Jeez.
Good episode.
It was good.